The day. My husband, 30, and I, 27, have been married for 3 years. I could not ask for a better husband. He is a great person and I have been lucky to find him and have him. We have a very good marriage and make a good team. We are both happy and in love. This next part is hard to type out. I have done something horrible. Any judgment you throw my way I understand and already know. I know this probably won't be received well and I get it. I just want some practical advice on revealing this to my husband and dealing with the aftermath. A few weeks ago, I went to my hometown for the weekend to catch up with family and some friends. It is a 2-hour drive. My husband was supposed to come with me but couldn't last second because of work. He felt bad and told me I should still go because I haven't seen my family in a while. Normally he would be with me and it was unusual that he couldn't come. Saturday night I went out with a few friends to go eat. We later went to a bar and a few other people showed up. We were all drinking but I was fine at the time. Later some of us went back to the house that we had rented. We continued drinking and my friend and I took something. I had consumed way more alcohol than I usually ever do and this stupid choice to take something put me over the edge into a blackout. This is my best guess but maybe an hour later is where my memory of the night ends. 5 a.m. I wake up to use the bathroom and realize a guy is next to me in bed. I don't remember anything physical but I know it happened. I talked to him the next day to try to understand what happened but he wasn't any help. I have no details and no idea how it got to that point. The magnitude of what happened has really hit me. I think I was in shock, denial the first few days. I have been feeling a ton of guilt and shame. I have been a total mess and my husband is concerned. I have not been able to bring myself to tell him yet. This is something that happened because of alcohol and something that I would never do. I know I made many terrible and irresponsible choices that led to it. I have no interest in any other men and am 100% committed to my husband and marriage. I have talked to my 2 close friends who were with me. They didn't know anything about it and were surprised, so it must have been after everyone left or went to sleep. No one else saw the lead up to it. I was looking for advice on telling my husband and doing my best to keep my marriage together after. This is going to devastate my husband. I am not going to be able to tell him how it happened, what we did, or even much about this guy. I have met him a few times over the years but we were never friends. I can't believe this happened and I really need advice. I have been in him at work. I'm not trying to claim I was ex. I have my suspicions of why and how it happened but I can't know for sure. I know it happened because of me and putting myself in a bad situation. I'm not trying to shift the blame. The pill I took was a very strong opiate. My friend told me later I should not have taken the whole thing. I had very little experience with opiates and didn't know. My friend is much more experienced than I. The guy had been drinking but did not do any meds that I know of. The guy was a friend of one of my friends. I met him a few times but barely know anything about him. I was completely naked when I first woke up to use the bathroom at 5. Then I got dressed and went back to sleep on a couch. I can tell that I had slept together and the guy confirmed it. There was no flirting between us and we barely interacted. I have an appointment for a STD panel. Wedding ring was on when I woke up. I had no intention of this happening. The rental was originally for my husband and I. We would rather have our own space than stay with family. I am going to tell my husband. I have been debating on how to tell him but I will tell him. I just know the aftermath is going to be horrible. This is the worst mistake I think I have ever made. It would have had to happen when everyone left, went to sleep. My friend, who is a woman, got me to bed. Either he came into my room or I got back up and it happened from there. I have my suspicions but I can't know for sure so I'm not trying to play victim to my husband. My husband knew my plan and what I was doing. The guy just tagged along with my friend and I didn't think much of it because I had zero plans to sleep with him. He trusts the friends that I have and pretty much just told me to be careful and keep in touch with him. Nothing like this has happened before so I am sure it wasn't a possibility in his mind. He doesn't know that I did meds yet but we do another drug like 2 times a year. When I talked to the guy in the morning, I asked him if we had slept together. He said yeah. I asked him what happened and how it happened. He just asked me what was wrong and I told him I was married and I don't know how this happened. He apologized and said he isn't going to tell anyone and that was the end of the conversation. He has tried to add me on Facebook, which I check maybe twice a month. My friends didn't know anything until I talked to them about it the next day. I have never had an STD and I highly doubt I have anything but I could be wrong. Didn't really want to reject my husband especially after what happened. I have my own personal views about what happened from what I pieced together but I'm not going to try to convince anyone I was ex. No one would believe it anyway. It would not have happened if I didn't take a pill that I knew nothing about. I know that. I will never know for sure what happened. I will never do meds again after this experience. In one of my comments, I said we didn't flirt or anything. There was nothing like that going on at all. He isn't bad looking but I don't have any attraction towards him. I don't really know what to think of him. I'm suspicious of him and never want to see him again. I am never doing meds again. I had only been with my husband since we started dating until this incident. I think he came in when I was already in bed and out of it. Those pills are very strong and I doubt I got back up but maybe. I just don't really know one way or another. He knew I was married. Me saying that in the morning was in response to him asking what was wrong when we talked. He was there as a guest of my friend, so I didn't think much of it. I have had my hands full. I told him last night it was pretty bad. Been terrible. He didn't kick me out or talk about divorce, so maybe that is a good sign. I think he knows I didn't intend to do this. I am cooking a holiday-type meal for both of our families tonight. He still wants us to do it. I am hoping it isn't a disaster tonight. He is pissed and hurt, of course. I think he is still processing. It was really bad though. Some people are already here, so we haven't talked about it in a few hours. Our families don't know anything. I have no idea how the next few days will be. I'm not sure what he is thinking or where he is at with it as of right now. 2 of my female friends spent the night and the guy I was with. The rest of them left. I was in the master bedroom downstairs and the rest of the bedrooms were upstairs. There were enough beds for everyone who didn't want to drive. My friend who came with the guy gave me the pill. My friends put me to bed when I was severely messed up. I don't remember this is what I was told. I doubt I got up after this too. Yes, I think he came into my room while I was out of it. None of my friends knew or heard anything until I talked to them in the morning and they were surprised. Friend number 1 told me she checked on me before she went to bed because she was worried. Since I cannot know for a fact, I'm not that worried about which one happened. The fact is that I took a pill, got really drunk, and had slept with someone else. I know it is my fault. I was excited to see my friends and family and went overboard. I can't know for sure that I didn't get up and come onto him or whatever. Maybe I was into it, but I think there was about a 5% chance that it happened that way. There was no flirting between us and he was not there for me. The only reason I said he was attractive is because someone asked me. I didn't go out of my way to say how attractive he is. The only reason I scrolled his Facebook is because I got a request and I had just slept with this guy and was curious. I very much regret not telling my husband sooner, and it has made things more complicated for me and I'm sure more painful for him. My husband looked up his socials and I think he is going to contact him soon or already has. I will do whatever my husband needs me to do. If they just so happen to run into each other, it would probably get physical, but I doubt my husband would try to go find him. I have never seen this mad though. How do you go about getting a polygraph? I think he believes me that I don't remember, but he is still processing. We are sleeping in the same room. We got into another fight when everyone left last night. I'm not sure exactly what he believes, but definitely thinks I am stupid, doesn't want to go anywhere or do anything. He definitely thinks I was taken advantage of in some way. There is a big difference between if I was totally passed out or out of it but responsive in some way when he started. He called my friend and talked to her. I heard some of the conversation but didn't ask about it when he was done. He went through my phone. He is at his friend's house right now. No telling what he will advise him to do. I am really scared about our family and friends finding out, but it is going to happen. I told him I was going to get tested and he didn't really say anything. I told him he tried to add me on FB and told him I didn't accept it. He didn't like that at all. I think he is going to contact the guy soon or already has. I have no idea what this guy would say to my husband. It has been horrible though, and I never would have thought I would be dealing with something like this. My husband already called my friend who the guy was at my rental with, so he probably knows my husband knows if he hasn't already messaged him. My clothes were in and around bed and pretty sure no condom was involved. Update: think my marriage will be okay after some time and changes, even though this has really messed him up and our relationship. He still loves me and doesn't hate me, thank God. No mention of divorce or separation. It has been a really horrible feeling not being able to recall something so intimate and not give him any answers. It has gotten around some and I have been getting texts asking me what happened. That also sucks. Thinking about moving. He wants me to go to therapy and I will be starting that soon. I have brought up marriage counseling a few times to help us through this and he seems receptive. It can't hurt and we are going away for a few days soon. My husband has overall handled this great considering the circumstances. We have gotten into a few arguments and we have talked about it more times than I can count. I have just been trying to let him feel his feelings. A lot of hurtful things have been said, of course, but most of the time he is nice to me, which always makes me feel worse. We have been spending a lot of time together and it has been good for us, I think. He is a great person and I have been lucky to be with him. Overall, this has been a nightmare though. I think he knows I didn't set out to cheat on him. My husband messaged the other guy on Facebook. I saw the messages. Husband wasn't mean or attacking, he just wanted to see what he would say and details. They had a few messages and it turned into a fight unsurprisingly. He got defensive, threw some insults and blocked my husband. I deactivated my Facebook after he messaged me. All of this made husband really mad, so he tried to get his number for a while and then calmed down. He did get his number but hasn't done anything with it so far. I talked to my friend who gave me the pill and brought the guy. Not sure what to believe honestly. She said he is very recently divorced or separated. Been all over the place, but who knows. He had been hanging out with my friend a lot more since then and said he was going through a rough time. He told her that we ran into each other when everyone was asleep and that is how it happened. Friend told my husband how messed up I was and she didn't think I knew what I was doing. I will never know. She said she has distanced herself from him. We aren't going to involve police because we think it is a waste of time and will just create more problems. I have just been trying to focus on my marriage, work, and improving my life. Hopefully we can get past this with time. I'm sure we have a lot more to go through and I'm not sure what else to do to help him or us. An STD-free currently. I don't believe I was unconscious. I do think I was extremely messed up and he came in my room. I probably was responsive in some way. I'm just not sure what else to say on here to make it clear that I have not cried X and I know my actions lead to these things. I have said it about 100 times. Being blacked out while drinking and taking meds is incredibly common, so I'm not sure what you are talking about. I did not have communication with the guy I had slept with after it happened. I have my first individual counseling appointment in the next couple of weeks and I am still trying to set up the marriage counseling, but he seems receptive to it. The individual counseling for me was something he demanded and I don't think it is a terrible idea. I don't think he wants counseling just for himself though. His family doesn't know anything about it right now and he doesn't want to tell them, and that is fine with me. My family knows and a lot of our friends. My mother and I talked about it once and it hasn't been brought up again. I am not hanging out with those friends anymore. He believes me, but that doesn't tell him how I acted. Sometimes he is great and then he is really pissed and wants to talk about it for hours. I am sure that is normal, but it is so confusing and emotionally draining and I don't really know how to handle it. He has said really mean things and then has told me he loves me and we will get through it and things like that. The only solid plan we have is counseling and me not going anywhere. Hopefully counseling will help us. I have talked about it to 2 of my close friends, but I really don't want to talk about it to anyone else and I can't really talk about it to my family. Other people knowing besides my husband has been one of the hardest parts. As you guys are well aware how people feel about this, I would prefer to pretend like it didn't happen if no one brings it up. If they ask or bring it up, that is fine. We are starting counseling. It has only been a few weeks but feels like much longer. I am definitely scared we are both going to wake up and it has been 2 years and we are miserable. He does not want individual counseling. I had my first appointment today, a requirement for him, and we start marriage counseling very soon. I wish he would go to his own therapist as well. It could not hurt and he could say things that he might hold back on. My father passed away, so we took a brief break from our relationship problems. He was great during everything for a while. It was under bad circumstances, but our relationship was really good when it was all going on. Things have sort of improved. It feels like we make progress and something knocks us back down. I am 27, he is 30, been married 3 years. I thought about starting a new thread, but it didn't seem worth it for this and didn't want to rehash everything. It is my profile if you want to read my original detailing what happened. He is the one who has brought it back up and wants it to happen soon. It isn't some new idea out of nowhere. We were going to soon before everything happened. We both want to. I am only hesitant because of what happened. If I was advising a friend in the same situation, I would tell her to wait. But is it worth the friction to wait when we both want it all to wait 4 or 5 months or something? Things are better than they were. There isn't so much anger and distrust, though definitely still there, and we have had some setbacks. I don't know what normal trust and emotions are going to be after what happened and what our baseline will be. If I wait for things to be like they were, I could be waiting forever. We have not talked about it in marriage counseling yet. I am hoping to when we go next. My counselor thinks waiting is good. I feel bad denying him this and wanting to wait because I did something that messed up our relationship. I told him that we at least had to wait to be 100% sure that I don't have any STDs. He flipped out about that and thinks I am being stupid and stalling and said that I had a negative test. I told him we have to completely sure before doing this. I'm not worried that I have anything. I am just trying to be responsible. I know it wouldn't fix our relationship and don't know what the reality would be once we do have a baby. We have never been parents before. We don't have doubts about being together, and I do think it would bring us closer together. I do want a baby, but I think it is a little soon and we should be more stable. I also don't think it is worth the arguments and hurt feelings to wait a few months. I feel torn. I am so done with it. Before this I was living my life normally and drug use was very rare anyway, so it hasn't been difficult to not do it for either of us. I'm not an addict and never have been, so I'm just making the decision not to after all of this. We both want a family and to settle into that life. My biggest thing is the STD. It is extremely unlikely, but what if I did get pregnant and discovered I actually do have some damaging STD? That would be awful. I would like for our marriage to be in a better place and more solid as well. My comment, Opus, sounds like you are doing pretty well. Not everyone would get a second chance in your situation. I would tread carefully for quite some time, though. As for having a kid now, if your H is really pushing for it and your love for him is very strong, I would entertain it. But maybe a few more months. You don't want this to be about your H trying to lay claim to you this way. Story 2. I found this channel a couple of months ago and wish I had found it a year ago. I see all my mistakes now but can't change them. We have been married for 30 years. 2 girls, 26 and 23. My first marriage and his third. I discovered that my husband was having an affair July 2021. I asked him to move out, which he did for a month. He told me he ended it with her. We had been seeing a counselor for a month before I found out. He had been treating me horrible and I felt like our marriage was close to divorce. He agreed to counseling. I never suspected an affair. I just thought he was unhappy and pushing me away. I had changed jobs in January of that year and it was consuming my time. He was contacted by an old girlfriend from high school on Facebook in January. She lives out of town but was coming in town once a month. In March they met for the first time. When I first found out, he told me they were just friends. Friends that talk 2 hours and text 50 to 100 times a day. He then told me that they had only met once. As the months went on, I kept hearing more and each time he told me it was the whole truth. That first month that he was gone, I thought we had fallen back in love again. We went on dates, I slept over, we stayed up all night talking about things I never knew about him. It was great. My problem is that every time new information would come up, I would be devastated. Crushed again. I felt like we were always living in a lie. Then in February of this year, he gave me access to his work email. I found several old emails between them. I'm sure he thought he had deleted them all. They had started using his work email the day after I found out. What bothered me the most was that I thought we had fallen in love again at that time. The things that he was saying to me and then to her killed me. I believed him again. He did have emails in there that ended the affair, so I do believe it is over now. He ended it in October last year. I know even now he hasn't told me the whole truth and I wonder if there was anyone else. I just can't move on. We just had another discussion about telling me the whole truth a few weeks ago, and he just told me that he would tell me everything tonight. But at this point, I am so hurt about the continued lies that I don't know if I will believe anything he tells me. When is it the truth? I also want to know at this point, do I disclose to anyone new since it has been over for almost a year now? I do have some family and friends that I have talked to about it, but not my kids. He has made some changes. He is at a new job and I have the email passcodes. He has changed his phone number. We have been reading the MB Basic Concepts. He even purchased the book His Needs, Her Needs right after that. He wants to make our marriage better but just doesn't want to tell me what happened. He says it will hurt me too much. The lying is hurting me. Every time we have talked, I have given him a list of questions and told him that I need them all answered in one sitting. I want to know and then move on. But every time we have talked, I know there are things he is still lying about. He usually tells me about something I had already questioned several times. We will talk tonight and hopefully this will be the last time we talk about it. I also have kept a journal since December about my feeling and how things were going with us. The counselor suggested it. What do you think about me printing it out for him to read afterwards? I will also print out my questions again for him. I really just want him to tell me what happened without me having to ask questions, but I will have them just in case. I will expose when my daughter comes back from vacation next week. I will do it all at the same time. I want to talk to them together. We stopped going to the counselor in December. We didn't get much out of it except that I could air my feelings. And yes, we talked about it too much. I really like the idea of talking once and then moving on. He won't agree to the polygraph. He says he has heard too much about them not being true and not even being used in court anymore. Should I just believe this time? He doesn't trust the lie detector test. He is afraid if it shows he is lying when he is not, I will never believe him. He wants to show me that I can trust him again. He is really against the polygraph. I want to push the issue, but I don't know if I am ready to walk away from the marriage if he doesn't change his mind. I know I can't threaten and then not follow through. We did talk tonight already. He told me about her contacting him on Facebook. He told me about every time they got together. Since she lives out of town, there was not too many times. Most of their contact was phone and email. She sent a lot of pictures. I guess my worry is, if there were any others, I think I am being paranoid. I never suspected anything until last year. I remember in March sitting on the side of the bed and asking him why he hasn't wanted to be with me lately. That was the month they first met. Then a month later he was hiding his phone and making weekend plans with some guys to go shooting. He met with her. I saw the emails after July when I found out, and the ones where he said that this has to end. It ended in September. He said she sent him an email at Christmas just to say hi. He said he didn't respond. Then I got on his work email starting in February. I asked him to let me know if she sent another email. She did send one in March, their anniversary of the first date. It was just a "hope your life is good and thanks for the time we had together" letter. I saw it on his email and realized he hadn't seen it yet. I copied it and kept his as unread and waited to see if he would tell me. An hour later when he opened it, he contacted me and told me she had sent it. That really helped me to trust him again. At that time, I asked him to write her a letter to never contact him again, which he did, and I looked it over before sending. I also contacted her husband and told him to have her stop contacting my husband. I think he has done some really big changes and shown me he wants this to work. I am just scared to trust again. I know about Plana, but the affair has been over for almost a year. I sent the emails to him. He was very cold and said he will make sure she doesn't contact us again and not to contact him either. My did change jobs and phones since then. I could only get a home number and didn't want to use it because I thought she would answer. We talked through his Facebook page. I only opened that page to follow her and contact him. Well, I have exposed to my daughters and my friends and family. My husband doesn't know yet. I did set up a polygraph test for this Friday. He says he will take it but not happy about it. I am not sure how he will take it when he finds out that I have told everyone. I think he will be very mad and not sure why I had to tell. An update. My age took the polygraph test on Friday and passed. I then told him that I had disclosed to family and friends about the affair and our girls. He was upset but not as mad as I thought he would be. He was more worried about our girls and how they reacted. He says he is not sure if he will be able to face my family. He has dropped that issue very quickly. I have had several family members contact me and give us their support and open invite to talk if either of us needs to do so. He wants to talk with our daughters but is not sure how to bring it up and not sure what to expect. He is not really good about communicating with them, especially something like this. Both girls are feeling very uncomfortable about talking to him about this. Only one daughter has been at the house since I told him about disclosure, and it was only for a few minutes before she went into her room. She doesn't want to talk to him without her sister. We are working together on reading our book and meeting each other's needs. It's been better, but I really want him to tell the girls he wants to talk with both of them soon. I don't want this uncomfortable feeling to go on for too long. They need to talk. What can I do to help move this along? We are following a recovery program. We have put the EP in place and are working on spending the undivided attention with each other. He has started new job, new phone and new email address. Now I just need to work on letting it go and not bringing it up again. That's what I am afraid of most. Hanging on to that resentment. An update. We have been doing good. We have been spending more time together, but when certain dates or events come along, my mind goes back to that time. Remembering what he did and wondering how he could do it, and does he really love me or just playing the game again? I really had a hard time with his birthday last month. From the work emails I came across, I know that they were together the day before his birthday. A year ago, I had made big plans to make it a special day. We even went shopping for a special outfit for me to wear, something he would love. The email showed me they were still together, just more underground. It's been a year, but the doubt comes back. I have been looking for someone's video that has dealt with the same issues and how they got past them. The past obsessive lying still keeps doubts in my mind. I don't think he is lying now, but wonder if he is still thinking of her at times. It just scares me. Sometimes when we are in bed, she pops in my head. Not a great time for my mind to wander there. I think what bothers me the most is that he says he never loved her and he never stopped loving me. I hate that he says that. He treated me horrible during that time. He was pushing me away. He made me hate him. I don't like to think he could do that to me but still loved me. I don't know if he is lying to me or himself about being in love with her. Then, I think he loved her but can't admit it. And I think he stopped loving me and wanted to leave. If he can't admit to himself how close he was to walking away from our marriage, what's to keep it from happening again? Maybe he doesn't realize how dangerous that affair was to our marriage. Can any WS tell me what goes on in your mind during something like that? Do you think about your lover once you are back with your spouse? Once you've decided it was a mistake? Should he admit to me what his feelings were during that time? Or doesn't it matter at this point? I know I need to keep my mind on the present. He is doing all the right things now. I hate myself when my mind slips into the past, especially during SF. He has been so good to me lately. We have been listening to the MB radio show too. I know if I want this to work again, I need to stay in the present. We just had our 30-year anniversary. I just found out about an old affair that my H had. It was a couple that we used to get together with all the time. They were very close family friends. Always came to all birthday parties. They were like aunt and uncle to our kids. I am so hurt that he did this, and even more with a friend of ours. I am hurt that she would do this to me also. I hate them both so much right now. I don't even want to talk to him. My H told me last night that it was only a couple of times, kissing and touching, but no more. He said it ended a long time ago. The couple of times it happened was when they were waiting for us to get back from a meeting for work. When I called her today to get her side of the story, she said that he made the first move. He admitted this also, and that they were both feeling lonely and wanted something new. She expressed how guilty and she felt after she did it. She told me how he called her all the time about getting together for lunch or dinner sometime. She did not want this and was sorry for what had happened already. She said it got to the point where she would just not answer his calls. Then his calls stopped when he got involved with the affair that brought me here. That affair ended Sept. 2021. My insides are boiling right now. I don't know where to go with all this anger. I told him I can't talk right now because I will only be mean to him. I feel like I should just end this now. I am not sure if I love him anymore. I don't feel like I know him at all. Who is this man? Exposure has already been done. I had a poly done in August, and on one of the questions were, are there any other affairs that your wife does not know about? He passed and said no. I guess if he didn't think of this as an affair, then he wasn't lying. Do you think that just kissing and touching would be considered an affair? I did not expose this old affair that I just found out about, or whatever you call it. The old that I just found out about is not married but has a live-in boyfriend of many years. This inappropriate kissing and touching happened more than 10 years ago. I asked my FWH about her again because I remembered feeling like there was something going on back then. When I had him take the polygraph recently, I had the question about, were there any other affairs? I wish I would have worded it differently, like, inappropriate kissing and touching. When I recently asked him again about it, he did confess to the inappropriate behavior. He said he wanted to be transparent and open and honest like the program says. He felt like he just didn't want to hurt me further with this old information. He said it was wrong and he was very sorry to hurt me again. All venues that lead to this affair have been closed. New place of work, close email account, new phone number, and Facebook has been closed for over a year. I am thinking about telling the person who did the polygraph about the lie not being caught. It cost a lot of money to ask those questions. I would think there would have been some sort of deception caught from the lie. My comment: you have pointed out that your husband has changed his work email, work phone, etc. Did he put down his Facebook page? Just blocking someone leaves the possibility of contact via another alias open. Did you change your home phone number? Be sure to include a question about if he ever inappropriately kissed, touched, contacted any other person during your relationship that you would like to know about. You can post the question here to review the wording. He is obviously hiding things, and it is very concerning that he passed the polygraph regardless. Polygraphs are not bad, but there is a reason that they are not used in European law enforcement. You may want to speak to the person performing the polygraph in advance.